stream here. I've heard back from the attorney, and going by their numbers, which is, I'm going to go by the attorney's numbers because he did, a lot of digging with the sheriff's office, and there's obviously a lot of discrepancies here. So first, I want to thank the Father, for being able to still be here and be safe in this sanctuary, and being able to provide Elijah the protection, and for everybody who has continued to pour out the support. So it's taken me a long time here today to get this, but we've just gone over and over and over and over these numbers, and it's an incredible sometimes how things get by. But a non-digital probation is, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but how is that a thing? How is there not such a thing as non-digital parole or probation? Non-digital, it's like it's the Stone Age or something. And this leads for a lot of discrepancies, having these people report. So I'm giving Elijah a minute, and I'm going to have him come in here. We're going to have a discussion about just going with the numbers that they have, which is incredible that it could even make it this far. Elijah's missing 55 hours, and I'm certain that his last hours were not submitted by Dan. So we've narrowed this down again. So this is too far, gone way too far. And so I've had to, again, seek legal counsel, and John Caligo, again, I've made it clear. So I've had conversations, and he's called the sheriff's office. And so I'm hoping you guys will stand down here and figure it out, that if Elijah's 55 hours, where's the hours from Dan? There's too much, guys. There might be 4 or 5 missing hours, maybe 8 or something. And now, guys, that's what I'll bring up, is that they round up and down. All the numbers are in normally 0 and equal or 15, in increments. So there's always some kind of, and they're not in charge so many times of their own hours. Somebody else is keeping track, a supervisor and stuff. This is a very horrible system that should have already been. I can't believe that this is allowed to have gone. How is not digitally, like the blockchain, tracked and trace every hour, which nonprofit organization they work for, they're doing road crew or work crew, whatever word salad you want to, it doesn't matter. None of it's being tracked digitally, like a blockchain, like a crypto. It all attached, every piece tracked and traced. I'm not about taking somebody's individual rights or freedoms, but we're talking about something here that's I'm not going to let up. Thank you guys for coming in here. I'm trying to just, this is incredible, this system of probation. So this is where I'm throwing myself personally in front of this bus or train or loaded gun or whatever it's called, the state of Oregon. I'm throwing myself in front of the whole probation system itself right now. To have people not digitally track something into the system, be able to instantly input, output their action plan, all that should have been done and given a receipt, not written. There's so many things that are handwritten that are meant you keep track, or it's a failed completely. How have I been the only one to expose this? So I'm not letting Elijah go taken and being put in prison for 5 years. We're going to track for all these hours and then some. And then the states are going to have to look at what they've done in this situation. Because even if they started pinging phones, and you guys, I have to show you too, these last 55 hours, these people are foolish. Elijah's slut, remember, by the Lane County's actual vernacular, their words were by the chief of police, called Elijah's wife a slut. I missed a couple details. That's why we just been going through this from the beginning, guys. And this is tough because all we just been keep talking about this numbers and all these different where they're coming from. It's just wild and wild how there's just this shouldn't even be an issue. It all should be done digitally. And I don't like this modern day world, but it is what it is. If we're gonna have this, this is simple. I mean, that's like an Excel system or something, guys. I'm serious. This, it's not a. I mean, it's not complicated, man. I'm trying to show you blockchain, meaning it needs to be tracked and traced, everything tied to a system where it can be gone in and, you know, an algorithm. Like, for example, okay, we're going to tell you how to pull 100 action plans and see what the averages are. It'd be put out immediately. You know, this stuff is unreal. How these people in probation have not picked up. Hey, we need to use our tech here. There's no tech probation. That's another one. We'll make sure we add that to your list. No tech probation. The only thing they use is the email system. Everything else is pretty much just winging it by paperwork. And this guy says this and this guy's saying that. And you keep track of your hours. And it's a shit show, guys. And I'm going to throw myself now for the world until I'm telling you, I think this is my calling now too with the word of God. And I apologize for my cursing. I just worn down, but this is too. This is protecting Elijah. Warner has a place of sanctuary where he is protected from tyrannical law. And under the myself as one who teaches here at High Desert Grace and Truth, there's millions of views to myself and the lesson, the teaching through him, and then it's mirroring Grace and Truth in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And, you know, some people might question this, but I don't believe the only thing that protected myself yesterday was the word of God. And that you should see it. Go watch the video, go watch the incident, go watch exactly what my son was subject. So I called my attorney this morning and I take his word, which is crazy because there's so much, and I didn't have time to talk to him. Guys, generally, if he's going to court over there in that county, again, you know, sorry, Tracy, I have so many cases, you know, it's just, he's a very busy man. And I had to remind him some things, but we work their numbers. I've worked their numbers, and there's no way Elijah is short. I don't believe any hours. I think, you know, if we start looking at the hours where he was wrongfully arrested, in my opinion, he'd done all these hours, but we'll put that to the side. Let's look at, remember, Gresh's at 30 hours. There's so many discrepancies, guys. There's so much discrepancies. Too many. That's what I'm saying. They can't do this. I'll hold him until they either come break down the store, and I don't think they can. You guys, I got a call today from the property owner that I have bought this property from, and I'll bring in that phone call. We'll listen to it on what he said, on what Lake County said. You guys are wasting the resources. I told you guys, this is an evidentiary stream, and all this evidence that I keep putting up, you guys are going to have to review all of it. We've got hundreds of hours in this now. So I think this is going to become federal, and we're going to have to get, and I think this will become a landmark case for people in probation that have been screwed over by a non-digital system, which, you know, kind of a bummer. I don't like the tech, but there's times where you use, you know, the right tool for the job. And in this case, technology would stop people from getting screwed. For example, well, there's a discrepancy in Elijah's hours because of some changing of some hours. And we'll discuss some of these things when I have him come in. I'm trying to have him go over some of these notes and stuff. He went and talked to, like I said, he went back through his phone, guys, and found some things that he had forgotten. We're sure he did all those hours here. I mean, there's just too many people that his probation officer, Lily, made him do community service. We added up at just 1 day a week, which he was forced to do because he was on supervised probation for 5 months. He should have easily had them all done here. But irregardless, when we play their numbers games, which I've told you, my son has been on jeopardy, and it will all come out, even if it's a historical case, landmark case, federal case that his phone was pinged. You guys, one thing I want to bring up, these last 55 missing hours, Elijah's been working with his slut wife that the police commissioner called. Can you believe that? I've never seen her ankles or her collarbone. That's out of line. And people, we've had probably hundreds of calls to pour into Lake County and to Lane County with this information, and people have been treated horribly. They told a woman they were going to go after her, have cussed people out, multiple people. They've actually acted very foolish and unprofessional as public servants and law enforcement officials. Have just, the police commissioner in Lane County called my son's wife, I believe that's a defamation of character, brothers, sisters, called her a slut. We have a lady who's heavy documented. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to run from this digital evidence. They have people in you know, there's digital and there's analog. They have them in an analog, you know, chokehold with these paperwork guys that they can change or pull, or there's so much. I've looked through Elijah's, is he in custody? No, he's not in custody. I'm not going to let him go into custody. I actually have a sanctuary here providing him as a man of God. I'm a pastor. My name is Tracy Warner. I pastor here at High Desert Grace and Truth. I've continued to pastor. Millions of people have seen this ministry is worldwide, and it will continue to be. You can't take this. It's been said. It's out there. They know that. There's protection. I'm providing Elijah from this law that is unconstitutional and wrongful arrest. He's been kidnapped before, and I won't let him be kidnapped by the system again. So I won't let him return to a system that wants to kidnap him and put him in a rape cage for 5 years, over maybe 5 hours of discrepancy now, which I'm 100, even their numbers, guys, and it's double jeopardy. So some people will lose their job. I'm certain over this, and I will make sure before I die, unless they just come whack me and kill me, break down these doors, that this is exposed. This should all be digital, and it should all be tracked and traced. And I'm not taking people's freedoms away from them, but if you go on probation or parole, everything should be documented digitally. So it's a failed system. Why I'm the first one to bring this up, I'm not sure, but maybe this will be a case, because I'm not letting the law enforcement have him, no matter what I already told them before they tried to wrongfully kidnap him again, that I would take custody of him, provide a place of sanctuary for him. And that's what's happening here at High Desert Grace and Truth. We're not breaking any laws. Yesterday, Howood had tried to go get Adrian a shower, and they're obviously watching everything they do, because they've been driving by the house down. They drove down my driveway, which is illegal. They're not allowed to come on my property without a warrant. And they did enter my property, the state police. So you're on notice, and have you on video that you entered my property without a warrant. So don't come on my property again. I wasn't violent with you. But I know I watched you video my house, and I know that this is all being, you know, you guys, they can't run from the digital evidence. So there is phone calls that can be pulled, and there are emails. Again, there's too many discrepancies. I've looked through all of Elijah's old action plans. There's a lot. We have a ton, as I told them. And every time I stream, this is evidence. They're going to have to look through this. So, you guys, so again, can I have your phone?
Yeah.
For that phone conversation. I want to talk to you about this. This is them calling my landlord. I want to bring up that I think that they're trying to fish to get me off this property any way that they can. You saw yesterday, the police followed me, lights and sirens to my house or whatever, but there was no speeding. There was no, I commanded Elijah not to stop the vehicle. We were going to go try to get his lady here a shower. I've been keeping her, and she's now lost her job because of this, safe from letting her husband being locked into a 5-year prison sentence over a clerical, now double jeopardy. I'm certain, even if you just pinged phones and stuff, you're going to see Elijah's done at least double or almost double his hours, somewhere around. And if they won't even give him his custody units, he would be way over his hours. I'm not returning this gentleman to a man of God, and that's why he's provided this sanctuary here from the law. And I believe you'd be a witness if you've never seen God, and you don't believe in God, and you're watching this stream. You might watch that stream, that 2-minute stream yesterday that was clipped from the ride from where I told my son, do not stop the vehicle and do not speed. Drive home back to this. This is church. This is High Desert Grace and Truth. We have a regular ministry here, and I pastor Predestination, and Mayor Brother Jim Pastor Jim at Grace and Truth Ministries, and so it's there. It can't go away, guys. That's something that. But if you don't believe in God, I encourage you to look at that video, and I think that will give you an understanding that God does exist, and He provides. I believe He provided not me. I know there wasn't a stillness in myself. I'm very. I let Him. He's my vessel. He pushes me. He's the sail that. I don't serve two masters. I serve one, and He's inside of me. He's my Father, and He's not someplace in the sky. He's Christ in you, brothers and sisters. So, anyways, I tried to go get her a shower. It'd been a week, and so we just turned around because they were there. I know they're watching all our moves. So since they hadn't been coming, we pleaded for communication. I said, let's go get a shower. We're gonna get a bite to eat. And they were there. They right there as soon as it's like they're following. They were right there, guys. So they're obviously, and when they came back, remember, they followed me. They stood on the other end of the driveway. And then I asked him, because he said they were watching these streams. So they know of all this evidence that I presented to them, and yet they refused to do anything. And so I asked her, if you were watching, Sam, and he was flashing his light. So I know they're watching this. They have the computers in their car, guys. So this is over the top, how they can have all this information, but yet it's not being used. So again, right now they called my landowner of this property and tried to pick his brain about something, and we'll let you listen to it. It's organic. I like that the cops called. It's brothers and sisters, I've worked hard for this community, and I know exactly where this is coming from. This is from me attacking the police from their tyranny that they've had out here, and they've had a stranglehold on this town for a long time, guys. What's that?
8 minutes long.
Yeah, I think it's like an 8-minute phone call or something like that. But it's organic. You'll see. Even this real estate agent who's been out here in this valley for 15 years knows these are tyrants, and he volunteered it, guys. But I know that this is where it's coming from, that I was exposing the probation. So look, guys, I want to do some numbers, and Elijah and I'm going to try to work with you. We're flipping around. I want you to look at him and talk to him. He's beside himself, but he's held his composure, and I know he's upset when to tell him that he was running from the law. Come on, Sam, for a year, and that's all the time that he was doing the work, guys. I want to say that they're checkmated now, guys. Checkmate. Watch. Checkmate again. How many times I got to back these people into the corner, and they won't back down? My attorney, John Caligo, he called over at the sheriff's office today. You're going to find record of this, that John Caligo, the one I've been talking about, said Elijah had 55 hours that he couldn't find that he hadn't completed. Brothers and sisters, Dan, last name?
Bud.
Dan Budd didn't submit his last hours that were worked. Now, I already told you, there's some discrepancy with Elijah, his hours. They're saying in the video, or we'll show you what he said, because he responded and never responded back to how many hours that Elijah actually had, because Elijah said that, and I'm going to let him explain all of this to you guys, okay? Because like I said, we've tried to figure out where this is coming from, and just the evidence is all I care about. That's what my attorney cares about. So let me tell you, we got 55 unaccounted hours for. And I got the 55 right here. I have the 55 hours that Dan didn't turn in, guys. So here we go again. Elijah's, and he's already did them back here, guys. This is incredible. I told you, double jeopardy. This man has been dragged through the mud. So I didn't get the time that I really wish I could leave this house, but I can't. I have barricaded myself in here now, and I can't leave. And I left yesterday, and we made it 3-4 miles back home before the police officer turned his lights on, and didn't just fall. Like, we're just doing the speed. Let's turn around. Let's just go home. I don't want any confrontation. Murphy's law. What do you know? No, God's law. God writes all things, and this is what He wants to happen. So we're just going to deal with what He'd written, and I know this all from the foundation of the world. So we turn around, and he turned his lights on, and I told Elijah not to stop, because I'm not going to let them put him in a rape cage and allow him to be violated by some other man that can't keep his dick to himself. I apologize, Father, but this, this calls for calling out the law. You did the same thing, Father. You called out the law for perverting it and twisting it, and they put holes in you, Father, for doing it. I know you sent your son, and he was the one who paid that price, and the holes was put in him. So I know, Father, what the price that we're supposed to pay. So I know these cops want to come put me holes in me and my son. They don't like that we're standing up to this probation office. And you guys, if Elijah for 5 months was on probation here, did 1 day a week, because they do 8-hour day probation, you'd had how many hours, Elijah?
160.
160 hours. 160. He originally had 180, I believe. And I know he did more than that. Some days he did work 2 days a week, or, you know what I'm saying? So there's no doubt Elisha will talk about it with Kenny, and I think it was Rodney. I can't remember. But he knows, guys, there's too many people he did probation with and went out on this road crew bus and did. So Elijah, for somehow they have in there, I don't know, these people could do anything. It's all, there's nothing digital, guys. They can access, but they can change anything they want in the system. It's criminal how this is, the accountability for hours worked and hours, here they're playing a little verbal, word salad with Elijah and saying that he didn't work for his community service because he had worked for road crew, where he gets in a bus and he goes out and works at the dunes. And I remember he remembered places before that he'd worked. Guys, there's too many people that worked with Elijah. Ping his phone. Everybody brings their phone everywhere. You see what I'm saying, guys? This is ridiculous. I hope this case goes federal. I hope they keep trying to do something, but they're going to run into the problem that the hours for Elijah has his last 59 hours were documented. And I even have it. So ironic that these 55 hours that they say he's missing, that Elijah shows me something from his wife, guys. Now look at this, is the key that I didn't know. Adriana has been working with him. I've always been working on his side. He's and he's supporting. You guys, not only is he supporting him, she has been volunteering her hours for a nonprofit organization. She goes to work all week. Now she doesn't have a job because of this. And then goes to work for a nonprofit organization and logs her hours in. Checkmate, Lake County, checkmate. They say they watch these guys, but they won't respond. They won't. Now they tried to stop my son yesterday, and I told him not to stop, but why won't they have any communication or verbal communication? Did you hear what I said? You guys, this is incredible how they've let it go this far, but it's because I'm pointing out, and I am probably the biggest problem here to them. You guys, they called my owner of my company today. You'll hear it. Well, it's not a meth lab. There's nothing. I think there's nothing violent going on there. We'll watch. They had nothing. I know what they're trying to do. They're going to try to go after me some code, or I'm not a corporation. Ordinance, I'm not a corporation. Or mandate some. I'm not. This is a church. This is High Desert Grace and Truth Ministries. You're not going to. And I know I haven't formally put it on because I'm trying to get it paid off. But if you would have allowed me and went and picked up all my property and let the sheriff come out, I could have sold all that and paid this land off already and turned it over to Grace and Truth. So I've actually talked to the real estate agent today. You'll hear it. I'm trying to get this taken care of, guys. And there was encouraging words. It's all organic. There's nothing scripted here, So, but he called me today because the police called him. Can you imagine the guy that had been buying land for 10 years? He's like, no, that's Tracy's. You'll hear, we'll go over it, guys. We're going to just keep going over. So it's just been nothing but it's a marathon today so far. I mean, I probably just mentally wore my son out with the numbers, and him too, going, oh my God, Dad, what about this? And, oh, I remember that. And guys, because we're not only trying to just go by their numbers, because for some reason they say Elijah was like trying to request his hours to be transferred over there. What in the hell? I even remember my attorney. Are you remembering? I called you at halfway, and he's like, Tracy, I do a lot of cases, and, so anyways, he's a busy man, and he's normally not, you guys, if you just look there and he wasn't going to court, which I know he knows this is serious because he won't call me normally till after court. He called me before court twice, guys. So he knows how serious this is. So I hope Lake County because he was the one involved in Elijah's case. Now, I gave him a chance before I tried to represent legal counsel, and try to get them to negotiate, So I think it's past that now. And I don't, well, actually, we'll see. I get, John is called and we've got this 55 hours, but my son and I have worked this, and Dan did not turn in his remaining hours that Adriana has going to have a record of too, because she signed up, guys, and volunteered her hours. Checkmate. His hours are going to be, she's working there too. So his hours should be somewhere close, so guys, there is a discrepancy because something that you're changing the hours. I want to let you know that the day that Elijah left, I'll say this too, and we'll talk about this. That's what I'm saying. We'll have a discussion about this. I think I can prove that Elijah's done at least double and kidnapped and didn't get any credit hours for the time when he was kidnapped, because I got paperwork that says this many custody units, in custody is this many custody units, and they want to just deny that to a lot. They don't want to give him anything. They just keep stripping and ripping. The hours change. It's just, here, you sign, you have him take the paper and he's your leader and he signs for your hours and keep track of your own hours, and checkmate. We're going to end that. I want this to go federal. Even if I don't do with this attorney, I've looked at another attorney, or maybe a dueling attorney, guys. I'm willing to sell all my land, everything out here, except for this, because this is the church. This will be donated. I've talked to the landowner here today. He said it's my land because I paid on it, guys, for a long time. I've given the guys more than, $25,000 or something already. It's been paid on this land. It's been paid, and he knows, guys. You'll see on the phone call this. Guys, I try to work so hard to have, to just work hard and represent righteous things. And if you see something evil, you point it out. You just don't stand there and allow that to happen, guys. And so some of us shut up about it, and some of us don't. So I'm one of those that never has, and I never will, not to the day I die. You're going to have to beat the heartbeat out of me or take the life from me. I'm going to, hopefully, I said the last words. I've said it a million times. I hope they're not my own. I hope they're not my own. I hope they're his words when they take this flesh from me. So that'll be up to him. We'll see. He already foreknew, prognosco. So go watch the videos. I think you'll see that God was here yesterday, and he protected Elijah, and he allowed me to bring him back to this sanctuary, this place of salvation, this place of rest, safety, where he was saved from this tyrannical people who just want to throw him in jail over something that, if they would look at all of the evidence, they would clearly see Elijah's done way more. It was 160 in the beginning or 180. There's just, how is this not all digital? How is everything not tracked and traced digitally? It's so many handwritten things. So Adriana has gone as well, and gone and volunteered her time. So her hours don't count towards Elijah's. I'm not saying that, but they should be there with Elijah. So if those hours are missing, well, how come Adriana's there with him and she has hours too? You guys, this is incredible what was just done again. What I just discovered today, I said, I got to get an attorney here. This is crazy. They don't want to listen. They don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to get this attorney. So I already told you I was going to do this. I gave him a chance to call me by noon today, and they to compromise, have communication, have some kind of conversation on how to get this resolved. Not the state of Oregon. They drove by my house and drove on my driveway, and on my driveway, on my property, because there is an easement in my road. There's a road I built around on mine, and they drove on that. So they were on my property illegally. And why haven't I had a call from them? And I've had people try to call them. How come Lane County Sheriff's hasn't called me? You know how many hundred people might have called them, wanting information about what's going on with Kresha Brunsman? Why do I have an email from Kresha Brunsman saying that he has 30, and they now says he has 55, and it's 89? You guys, this is madness. The way they do and jerk these people back and forth between the sheriff's office and probation, and they don't want it. They'll treat these people like they're dust, like they're just dirt, like they're nothing. Get out of my face. I am the authority. Shut up, I'm talking. Don't interrupt me. You're just on probation. You're a parolee. I'll write it down. I'll keep track of it yourself. What in the hell is going on? The system is completely flawed, 100% flawed. And there's no way they could do this to my son, even technically now, because of I'm going to make this thing, it's going to get bigger, guys. So I've made an agreement with my son that we're going to flush the law enforcement out of here. They think they're going to come in here now, guys. They call my landowner and going to try to get me on some technicality. I don't go by none of that. You don't recognize none of that. That doesn't apply to me. Plus, this is a church, so you can't apply that here. So good luck. Try. You know what I'm talking about. And I don't. This isn't for anybody else. This is between me and these principalities, powers, the ones who won't obviously respond, spiritual wickedness, the rulers of the darkness of this world that don't want to have any conversation, but they want to keep trying to throw my son in a cage without looking at the evidence. So I'll keep him here at this sanctuary. I told you I had enough stuff to stay here. If I shut the gates, I could be here for 15 years. I'm good. I have the ability to stay here, so they're not going to ever make me leave, ever. And my son and I said, we were not going to let them make us and run us off and scare us off this land. So we're going to run you off out of here, law, and we're going to expose you, Lily, Frank, that you made Elijah go and you made him go. It's going to be, he was on felony probation. He had to do, remember, at least 1 hour, or not 1 hour, 1 day a week, if not sometimes 2. That's more than enough to make sure he already did. That's why he left here with no hours. That's why I didn't say anything on his written. I'm tired. This is flawed. And he has copies of some of this stuff, guys. After the fact, though, remember too, some of this stuff is after they made him go through another year of hell. So I have not going to allow this to happen to my son. Hell no. Would you allow this to happen to a man of God? He's my brother, mother, and my son, because he is a man of God. Yeah, I've been on 48 months now. So he's done everything they've asked him through, and then twice. He's jumped through twice as many hoops as everybody else. There were 5 men arrested. Only one went to jail. Only one served time. They all committed the crime. What in the hell? Unequal justice from the beginning. And that's what I've been shouting. They're not going to make me go away. I will not stand down. I tell them when to stand down if you go watch the video. I tell them I am the law if you ask in this town, because they stood down. And they don't protect this town shit out here. 400 feet under the sea. As is above, so is below. Dark Sky Sanctuary, largest in the world, 2.5 million acres, set apart of the light belt, protected. Sounds like restriction to me from the lights, pollution. Better find your spot out here. I'm going to run all these tyrants out of here. This is going to be one of the best places to be on this earth after we run these tyrants out of here. I'm not standing down. They can look through my social media. They call, out of all things, they're calling my landowner today. They could be getting all their casework. How about Kresha Brunsman? How come they made a call to Kresha Brunsman to say, why did you lock him up? His dad says back here, we actually looked and pulled these phone records that he said from Lake County that he was the dad helping from facilitate, put a lot of money, all these, yeah, it cost like $25,000 or something to do Elijah's first case to get him out from the grip of this law out here because he got involved with this fraudulent probation system. Like, guys, I already said if we get the news out here, you'll get horror stories. Now I'm going to play. Okay, we'll play this and then we're going to go through the numbers. So can you bring up that phone conversation? This is today. I got a call from the gentleman that I own, and now watching this, guys. What are they doing here? What are they doing? Why do they keep doing this? Why won't they stand down and give Elijah his certificate? He already has done twice his hours. No, none of that, Vanessa. A downward departure is what they're doing. They're sending him to prison for 5 years. That's it. So, okay, guys, I recorded this because this is organic today. I can't get into my phone because I should have taken a screen capture. He contacted me and said, Tracy, the police contacted me today. I told him you own the property. I don't know what's going on. I said, oh, better call him. He's probably wondering what's going on out here. And I bought 2 properties from him, guys. So this is the phone call. We're going to put this as all for evidentiary purposes. So I want to show you that the guys, and in Oregon, I'm recording them. Unfortunately, in this thing, if one person's recording in this state, it could be submitted as evidence. I know how this state works. So I'm just trying to show you organic that I called Jesse back, and unbeknown to him, so it's organic that we had the conversation, and you'll see what his statement is about how the law works and how the gentleman's been in this valley for 15 probably plus years and does real estate, so he's highly well unknown. While he has a place called Christmas Valley Realty, okay, you can look it up. He's a landowner, sell contract owner. I've bought one now for quite some time, and please listen to what he says. It's organic. They're fishing. They can be using their resources to help Elijah. Instead, they're trying to come after me. Now, watch. Obviously, we're trying to figure what a waste of time these failures are. Is it you that called Sam Birch? Did you, Sam Birch, call the landowner, Jesse? You guys got a lot of balls, man. You could be using your resources to help Elijah, but nobody's helping Elijah. That's why I'm not letting you take him. So here we go. This is the owner of Jesse from Land Sale Network talking, me returning his call. Hey, the police called me about, the property out there, and, I told him you own it or whatever. I'll try to get and put that back on and screen capture that and show you on the next stream. So here's the conversation, guys. It's about an 8-minute video. Here we go. Organic as you can get. Calling him back.
Sheriff's Land Network.
Jesse.
Oh, hey, I recognize that voice. It's Tracy.
Yes, sir. Jesse, let's clarify. I'm not sure what the law enforcement has going out here, but I tell you, I'm an attorney. It's over something. My son had probation out here years ago with this county.
Yeah.
And Jesse, I've been kind of exposing the corruption in this county. They're kind of upset at me.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a lot of corruption. This town's known for being bullies, Jesse. So it is what it is. So my son had some probation. He got some trouble out here with the probation department, but he's already done everything he was supposed to do. And it's honestly, I can track all this, and my attorney, we've spoken about 4 or 5 hours that they can't track. So he'd already had an extension, which it's so crazy, Jesse. He did all his hours here. In the terms of his release to leave this county to go to Lane, because remember, I'm out here by myself.
Sure.
He's families from his dad drug him out here to the desert, come out here or whatever. And his mom is, his stepdad, his brother, and all his family's over, uncles and stuff are over there, Nana, Papa, all that stuff. So he wanted to move over here. So I facilitated the whole thing, and they're just not looking at any evidence. So I think what they're trying to do is pick at some code violation or something. I'm not going to let that happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping soon I'll be able to, I don't know what my balance is with you, but I'm trying to I have some investments right now. I'm invested in some mining companies and stuff. So I don't see the price of metals or whatnot. So I'm hoping all this will get taken care of here quickly. My attorney's reassured me today that he had unaccounted for 55, and we have at least 50 of those for sure, 100% counted for. So it should get cleared up here. Holy short. I apologize. You have the law enforcement bugging
Yeah,
you.
they called me, and I'm going, but as soon as he said Wald, I knew who it was, and I go, yeah, but Tracy's been buying that piece of land from us for years.
Sure.
And,
thank you, Jesse. I'll get this taken care of, sir. And I'd like to, keep, I'd like to hopefully, if things go properly here, we'll get these other land, this Bowens, taken care of too soon. I appreciate it. I hope I've tried to drive traffic to your way. You just,
no, I think you have. I think you have sent a couple people through the years. Yeah, that's helped out.
Heck yeah.
So is it about your son?
That's it. That's all this is. Yeah, I'm 100%. Didn't have nothing to hide. That's why I'm calling oh goodness, he's bothering them. I'm sure I think, what it is I brought him here, and I'm documenting all his, because this is where his evidence, they revoked his probation, and I brought him here to document all the hours. That's where they wanted to come here. And so that's why I have him here. And it like I said, it's all over. They've actually, Jesse, I can find he's done double the hours. See, his terms of release were to leave this county. And then he went there, and they sprung him in the last couple years. Last few months, which he already done. And so he just went ahead and put his head down. I contact my attorney. That's why my attorney involved, and he knows. And he just did him again. So he's getting double jeopardy, and he's a good young man, and he's not done anything, broken any laws or anything. So it is over him. So I have him here. I don't know if they're, because they know he's here. I mean, they've come drill him by the house, and I haven't hidden, and I brought him to the county where we're having an issue with this county where he's served. And Lane is and Lake is where he's, they're both very aware of this. I've been very verbal online as well, live streaming some of this stuff that I can do. I'm a prior law enforcement. I don't like to throw that out there, Jesse, but
well, it's good to know.
well, I know how the law works, and I think that they're upset. They're very crooked out here, Jesse. Honestly, I've discovered.
No, I get it. I mean, obviously I've dealt with them over the years. I can't really say that I've had problems with them, but I know others have, especially the code enforcement stuff.
Okay, well, here's what I'm looking at. I'm going to go ahead and let you go here in just one moment. I'm going to expose. I think I'll have the news out here organically, interviewing people, kind of testifying that they've really overstepped a lot of the law. So many people have come to me because I am a law enforcement and told me these horror stories, but nobody will stand up because they're bullies.
Yeah, because they're scared. Yeah, they're scared.
Okay, Jesse, that's what's going on out here. Is I'm a little verbal.
Scared guys.
I was protesting the police
scared
out
you
here.
Just heard it. That's where the most
Jesse
guys.
put my son out here in jail for a whole year. There's some kind. I don't know what it is. It's through the probation department. It'll be too lengthy. Because Jesse, there's more. This is the poorest. You have property all over, so this is the poorest county, and I love this county and Lake County. But they have more rapists, murderers, parolees of convicted felons that released in a contract in the county, and they let them go out and run roughshod out here. Remember this? And they get these kids involved, and then they don't ever charge their convict. Like this one was the gentleman my son got involved with was a rapist who raped a woman, and they brought him out. He served 13 years in Texas. She was a married woman and robbed her too, and so he did 13 years and transferred out here. So they run him through the probation. It is the probation department that I found that's making their money through this. So because they just strong arm people. They let this older man who is convicted of robbery and rape, high on methamphetamine. I know his case. See, the county's a little afraid of me over here, and that's what's going on. But we're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to flush him out of here.
I'm glad you have an attorney too, because that will make them walk the line.
That's why I'm telling you. I'm just want to let you know right out the gate. I'm attorney. I spoke with them just not too earlier today, so I apologize that they're bugging me. They're fishing, man.
No, they just called me once, and he did. Basically, because I asked him, I go, well, is there something wrong? He goes, well, it's not like it's a meth lab, or it's not like it's a drug possession, or it's not like. He just brought up a couple of things. He goes, "It's nothing like that."
Can you tell me? I don't want to pick your brain. I'm involuntary. Yeah. Can I ask you what they said? I'm just curious.
They basically told me nothing.
Okay, that's what I got by your message.
Yeah,
okay, no worries. I have nothing to fear. They can come down my driveway.
Yeah, but they basically told me nothing, and because I was asking, I was inquisitive.
Sure, I would be.
Yeah, you never know what's going on. But anyway,
sure. You know that. I don't do.
I hope
thank you, sir, for all your time.
I hope some of your real estate deals come through for you, and you're able to, maybe pay off your lot or whatever. Yeah,
I'd like to. Honestly, I don't know if you remember, I kind of made you an offer at one time, but I had to actually took that money and bought the lot next to me. Okay. Tried to really improve. No matter what, this property will always be. I don't think I'll ever. If it goes back to you at any time, which I'm trying to get it paid off. You'll have the property. The stuff I've done here is very quality, and I want to make sure that.
No, it looks. I think I've seen. Something popped up through. I don't know.
Sure.
I belong to some Christmas Valley group or whatever. Sure. I think one time I saw your little cabin thing you got going on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're gonna do eventually out here. I'd like to do some like Skyview cabins and stuff where people can come out for the night and do people and stuff and stay a night. Just not a bed and breakfast or anything, but a one night kind of a dry camp.
Yeah.
10 nights a month. These code enforcers can't say anything. It's not a dwelling or anything, and it could be people can enjoy. We just made the largest dark sky sanctuary in the world. 2.5 million acres set apart out of the light belt. Jesse, you're in the real estate business. You're a smart man. I know that. Set apart, protected from light pollution. That kind of sounds like restriction to me. Does that sound like restriction to you?
Yeah, that kind of does.
You got to I'm telling people you better find your spot out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might start limiting because remember, protected from light pollution. So, all right, Jesse, I appreciate all your time. I know your time's extremely valuable, sir. I will try to get a payoff from you soon on this one. I don't know, sir. Can I just bring it up? I mean, I don't want to now. I don't want to waste your time because you don't have the books in front of you. Well, I paid what a 20, 25. What would you want for the rest for this to get that title?
Well,
from
I
you?
don't know, Tracy.
All right, we'll look at it. You look at the books. We'll be in touch when I got.
Yeah,
I got you.
That's something to throw my way. Just go ahead and just.
Outstanding. Oh, beautiful. I will do it like I did last time. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And good luck on what's going on out
We'll get it
there.
taken care of. I have an attorney, Jesse. Thank you for your time, sir. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Goodbye.
Okay, guys, that's just how I do business. Okay, so anyways, I guess I massaged him a little bit at the beginning, telling him, but you heard him organically say that he's seen these code harness officers and they're really heavy handed out here. And so I believe too, that's a lot, guys. I've stood up for people to have choice, their freedom's not impended on. And I don't want you come on, this America, there's way too much restriction going on. And I know my rights, and now this is a church and not just, some plot of land out here. So it's protected under that. That's why Elijah has this sanctuary. But I wanted to show you, you've seen the cops said it's not drugs. It's not a drug deal. I don't do drugs, guys. I've tried to explain to you that over and over. I don't know how many people come here and insinuating drugs and stuff. So, but anyways, that's not what I'm talking about, guys. The point is I'm a man who stands up for people's rights, and I always have. And it's insanity that they're using their time fishing my gentleman Jesse, who's owned this property out here, many properties, and sold me the two that I have. And again, I told you I'm trying to get this one paid off. You guys, it sucks that this law enforcement, I had $20,000 worth of an estate stolen from me that's still probably sitting 10 miles from here, and this property could have been paid off by now. And I can't get, and you can look at this, I can't get Sheriff Michael Taylor to come out here. I've tried to get cooperation, not only to that, but exposing that. Maybe that's why he won't help me go get my stuff, huh? They've been so wronged out here by this community. But I'm going to flush these people out of here, guys. Because they are the criminals, Vanessa, and they're all going to go if I have my way. From top to bottom, I want to strip down the probation department. We're going to revamp and make it a digital probation, like a blockchain, everything digitally tracked and traced. He went over here. He worked for this non-profit organization. He worked over here at painted this building, county building. This should all be digitally tracked and traced. So no more. I literally, guys. So do you have that screen capture
Of what?
What your lady, that 55-hour deal? Because I want to discuss some of these hours. You guys, I'm beside myself when my attorney said that this county here said that Elijah filed to have probation over there. That doesn't even make any sense. Why wouldn't it have been written on his hours, over there? So, or excuse me, on his action plan for 3 years. We even visited it halfway through his probation, John. It'd been a while since we've done the case, guys. So I had to remind John, and he's on his way to court too, guys. So if he had the case in front of him, guys, just like,
3 years.
it's been a few years. So again, when you can massage all the numbers through written stuff, guys, it's easy to have discrepancies. You got to look at it like this. I'm going to show you an email where they say Elijah was not reporting his numbers properly, and there's some discrepancies with that. But it doesn't matter, because I'm telling you, they can ping his phone. I'm going to bring up, and Elijah's going to talk about this one incident with the first lady when he first went there and explain this to you. So let's see, just flip this over a little bit. That way, if you want to chime in here, Elijah, on this. They say right now, I want to just get down to the brass tacks first. We'll just try to work this kind of backwards. I don't care what they say or what other the numbers, because I'm sure we can account for a lot more numbers than what I'm talking about. But my attorney went through and spoke with the Sherman Center today, spoke with the sheriff's office. So we've had legal counsel look at the numbers. They say Elijah's missing 55 hours. Now, I find this rather ironic that Elijah's hours of work, this is his girlfriend, and they can photo screen capture this and find whenever they want to subpoena Elijah's girlfriend's phone, and I don't want her involved in it, but if they need to, this was already on her phone before I got those 55 hours today. Look at the number of what that equals on how many hours they have.
55 total hours.
55 total hours. And here's all the counted hours for it, guys. The 55 hours they say that he doesn't have, these hours weren't filed by Dan.
Those are the hours that she also went out and worked.
These are
with
the
me.
hours that she is going to have volunteering after working all week at her job, which she's now lost because of this incident, which I now think the state and some of them are going to have to pay some restitution to her, guys. I mean, she lost her job. She went and volunteered after working a full-time job to going and volunteering her hours. I thought she's just helping Elijah, like hanging out. Hey, we're going to work with Elijah. She was volunteering her own time and writing her hours in.
Yeah, she was out there actually pulling weeds and doing everything else.
Everything that he had done the first day. So, guys, it works out like this. This is where this discrepancy works. Now you got to chime in. You might want to scoot over if you want to explain. You can just talk. They don't need to see. It doesn't matter if they see your face. Brothers, sisters, the first day Elijah went there, and I'm going to because I just kind of let this. He worked for a first lady. Why didn't she just keep working? What are you talking about, Nathan?
Somebody who just came in.
Okay, never mind, Nathan. Don't ask you. Because I kidnapped her and won't let her go to work because I'm a crazy old man in the desert that's given her sanctuary from the law, wants to throw her husband in a rape cage so his anus can be violated at any time by a man who can't keep his dick to himself. That's the story. Been backfilled. Hopefully not packed the night before, but that could happen and things like that. So I stepped in and called the county. Okay, goodbye. So anyways, brothers, sisters, I've stepped in and I've had to do this, but this is why, because this is all documented. Even if we document the 55 hours that Elijah has, he was put in jail, wrongfully kidnapped by Kresha Brunsman, who already knew that he already done the hours here. But if we just leave those hours behind and we work the hours that they have.
Yeah, I expressed to her very thoroughly about that, and she really just kept brushing me off.
So the first day he went there, because Elijah had talked with Dan and stuff to make sure that all these hours were completed. He was kind of in a time crunch that he was going to come. Now, please take where you said your first day of work, that you went after they gave you those hours, and let them know how these hours came to that are documented. You went there that first day and you worked for food for Lane County. These are all documented. That's what I'm saying.
After my 3 days in jail for the first probation violation that they issued for the community service hours, I was released and I was told that I was no longer going to be working at the Sherman Center and I would be doing nonprofit organizations. So I went out and I chose 2 organizations to work at, which was the Food for Lane County programs, which was the Grassroots Garden and the Youth Farm. So I worked over at those places, and going over to we worked more over at the Grassroots Garden than anything.
Okay, but start from day one, please.
The available place. I'm telling them they had the available work, so we went over there, and I met the head person over there. Her name was Emily, and that was the first time I went over there. And she assigned me small work, and I just kind of worked throughout the day, and I did what she asked me to do.
Explain to them small work.
The small work is they put me in groups with some of the college kids and an older lady and stuff, and the work only lasted about 15 minutes. And I needed, longer work than that. And so,
So how many hours did you get that day?
For a while. I did the whole day.
So you got 15-minute group sessions of work, and you got 8 hours of working in 15-minute sessions?
About that, yeah.
That's kind of weird, guys. I've never heard of that before. Thank you.
But I came back the next day, and I came back with my lady because I had expressed to her, I was like, I really would appreciate, just some company if you would want to. You don't have to, but just some company would be nice. And she agreed that she would do it, and she'd come down there and she'd work with me. And so we went down there, and when we showed up the next time to go to the Grassroots Garden, Emily was not there, who I thought was the supervisor or whatever out there. And I met, I believe her name is Jen, is her name. And she said that she was also a supervisor out there. Emily was not out there. And I expressed to her, I said, hey, just want to let you know, me and this lady, we're going to be out here for the next week or 2. And we're going to be trying to put in full days and trying to just work as hard as we can. And I expressed to her what had happened the day prior about, working in these 15-minute intervals and just how,
I needed straight work.
I need straight work. And so I expressed that to her. And so she set us apart on the other side of the garden across like a bridge and a little canal and stuff, and she put us over there where there was these big garden beds, and they were just covered in weeds. And so that's what we did. So where most people would show up to the garden and probably go, hi, good morning, and sign in and go out and go talk to Emily or Jen or whoever and figure
Now
out
you're
what to do for
digitally
the
signing
day.
into a computer, right?
No, I was writing this down on paper.
Oh, they're having to write it down. Go ahead.
So I wrote my name, me and my lady, we go and we write our name down on the paper, and we don't say anything to anybody, there's no like real highs or nothing like that. And, we're not, I'm not the most morning person ever, but.
Can people see you working over there?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But we're not like next to everybody in the main place.
I understand. You said it's separate. I'm
And
just
so,
asking if people can visually.
Sure.
I've never seen.
Yeah, they can see us over there.
Okay.
There was actually some people who thought that we worked there came up and asked us questions, we talked to Jen and she put us over on the other side, and so that's where we did. Every day that we come in and we do our work, we come in, we just sign in, we go walk over where we were, we grab our tools and we do our work. And so we weren't really paid attention to like that. We would show up, work, go to lunch, come back, work, go home. They had lunch. They had a communal lunch where they did it all together, and they, stuff. We never did that with them. I always like to go, hey, honey, you want to go out and go get like something good to eat? We'll go get like some soup or something. And that's what we did. So it would make sense why they're saying like, oh, hey, some of these hours aren't matching up with what they say or what they see over there at the garden. It's because they weren't paying attention to us. I had spoken to another supervisor, and they had told me to go over to this place. And so, like I said, we would just show up and go to work and then go home. So we didn't talk to anybody. We didn't talk to no
You guys are
supervisors,
just
nothing like that.
expecting
We
these
just
people
go
to write it all
to
down
work.
too. Remember, there's no digital anything in place. Okay. They can still ping these, these. Adrian had volunteered her time, so that's going to be written. Yeah, that's my son. That's what you do when they're going to throw your son in prison for 5 years, and he's done double the work, guys. They've enslaved him and kidnapped him. You guys, I know. Okay, so listen, are you hearing what he's saying? So I just showed you guys that all these hours are written down on his phone. Written down on his phone. Now look, it says Sunday 21st, 8 hours. Monday 22nd, you got 11 hours. Now, are those including those 3 hours that he gave you on that one? Remember, there was extra.
Well,
you guys, there was one time they went into
you
work.
can see how everything drops, 55 to 25 to, it all just will go.
I'm looking at your hours you gave that day.
Right, these are different days. These are all
I see. That's
days.
one day. I was just reading the days. 21st, 8, Monday, 11. You worked 11 hours that day?
Right. Going out.
Okay. Well,
it's been a minute. This is,
10 hours that day, 10 hours that day, 10 hours that day,
Right.
7 hours that day.
Right.
6. Okay, this one says waited Saturday 27th, 7 hours, 9 to 4, waited until 6:30 to work. Ended up being no work. So you were trying to see, guys, what they were trying to do is the reason why they have these extra hours. They had already contacted me. Remember, I was in full contact. They've been trying to get a hold of Dan too. Remember, to get the Dan Budd, a digital printout of the hours. There's going to be all my phone conversations to me communicating. I want something in writing, but they won't give them anything. They just bounce them back and forth. So they tell them to keep track of their own hours. So these are the hours that he has. Okay. After this, I want you to pull up that email of why he's saying there's
not an email, it's a text message.
A text message of him responding, because Elijah's trying to get his hours, still requesting. He went there to his office. I'm calling you. You're there yet? He actually.
Tuesday. That was that one right there.
Tuesday?
It says it.
Okay, Tuesday the 30th. Then this is the very next day, 10 hours, 9 to 4, and then 6 to 9 showed up at the garden at 9, put in work, and took a lunch and went to talk to Dan Budd and went back and put in the rest of the hours. So they went that day to talk to Dan, because I'm like demanding, like, Elijah, we need something in writing, man. Because this is what they all do. Oh, you need something in writing, but they don't want to give up any information.
I asked Dan Budd if we could go and sit down, have a conversation, talk in his office or something of that sort. And
he went there with his girlfriend there too.
He planted his feet and just stood in the middle of the office and make me talk about my personal business in the middle of a public section.
He tried to go get an appointment. I kept telling him to go, Elijah, just get something in writing, man. We need to know where you're at, dude. He's like, like that. I don't know. I'm gonna try it. You know, just
Yeah, when you go and ask 5 different probation officers, it seems, and then you have other people who aren't even really into the probation but take care of your probation hours.
some of
and you
these
ask
people aren't
them
even
to do it, and
probation
they
that are
can't even
keeping
do
your
it.
hours, volunteers. You guys, this is over the top. There's nothing digital going on. So here's some discrepancies and hours where you clock in and you left at 5:07. You put what, 5:15, 5:30. See, guys, there are that because all his hours would match it, and so probably will everybody's else. That's common practice. The rounding up. I think you said that you
Dan
said
Bud told us to do that.
they say they round, and all their stuff will match. So I think then, because please pull up that text message, they're accusing Elijah of these 55. I want to clear this. And well, I know we can prove way more than this. What about his custody units? What about all the work he did here? You guys, this is double jeopardy. So this is Dan Bud responding. Elijah kept asking him. This is his response. He says, I've seen what you put down. I've received a message from the garden. Now, this was where you need to explain this first lady that you told me that was putting down hours that you're not working. They're saying he's putting down hours because it's not working. That he's putting hours that he's not working. Now, guys, I want to tell you where they came up with this. I'm certain of this is what they did, because this is the message before the day before Elijah's cutoff for his hours needed to be filed. For whatever this, so many you need this many hours, they keep doing this shit to them and keep fucking with him and not giving him and taking him and just go over here, see them. It's at the sheriff's office. No, that's probation. No, that's back over the sheriff's office. It's a ping pong ball. They rip them and strip them and just make them feel like they do not allow this should all be done digitally. And after this case, I don't care if I die trying to do this. I'm going to make sure that not one other probationary gets screwed over by this system that's analog, which should be completely digital. It's insane what is happening, and it should. And I don't believe in taking and restricting people's freedoms. But if you go on probation, like Elijah, he got in trouble, but he served a year out of 5 people, guys. Such unequal justice, unequal justice. Yeah, everything, right, Vanessa? I mean, I don't give a crap what you're doing. It should be, that would stop all this.
How hard would it be to make an app?
That would make that right. And I told you, Excel, Elijah, you could do this in an Excel spreadsheet. It's not freaking rocket science. I'm just comparing it to the digitally tracking and tracing of a blockchain. That way, everything could be digitally tracked and traced. So, So anyways, brothers and sisters, so Elijah made a mistake and he did his time. I mean, sure, it happens. We all make mistakes. And so you do the crime, you do the time. And he did. Out of 5 guys that all had charged in the same crime, he was the only one that went to jail. What the hell is going on with that? That's what started me chopping on this probation system, found out with the rapist. So I've been chopping people down out here, guys, trying to get them their tyranny, and they don't like me out here because I'm exposing Lily. You guys, if Lily made Elijah he had 5 months before he left this county and moved to Lane County. He did at least 1 day a week. 5 months,
It's not that I had 5 months and then I could leave. It took me 5 months to get the hours done to leave the county.
That's what I'm explaining to you. I'm trying to give them at 1 day a week. He's just working 1 day a week. 1 day a week. He worked some days 2 days a week, some days maybe more, but he definitely worked 1 day a week every day or every once a week. That's something like 160 hours. If you put 2 days, his hours were done, guys.
And you weren't allowed to work those days like half days or nothing, because when they pick you up, you're there.
You're on a bus.
Day.
You get on the bus. You go there for the day.
You're there.
You're there.
You just work.
He's worked with all these, so we already know he did all those hours. That
So
was
it's
the
not like I
terms
could
of,
show up there at like 9 a.m. and at like 11:30, I'm like, oh, I want to go home. No, I had to go work the day. You get on the bus, you go work the day.
and it's not like you out here, brothers and sisters. They don't have Food for Lake County where you go work for
Food for Lake
nonprofit.
County, that's funny.
I just made it up. Well, over there they have Food for Lane County and this garden center and these other things that are nonprofit. They don't have that out here. You work for the county and do what the county says, because they're Billy Bob out here, and you heard my real estate guy said they're thugs out here. here, so we're going to run the cops out of town. And they think they can run me out of town. And they said they watched me. So, Sam Birch, I told you to go home. You're all coming for all your jobs because you guys, I've asked for the elected sheriff to come out here for more than a year to try to deal with this corruption. And now I think that's why Elijah's paid the price dearly. He's taken it on him. Brothers, sisters, here's what I'm saying. Let me tell you, if we had all these act plans digitally, I could take 100 of them and put them in the system and get an answer in a second. A second and a half, it would say, oh, well, okay, on these action plans, what do you want to know? Well, okay, when do people do all their community service? They do it on the front side, the back. Well, all community service, like a loan, we're going to give you a little chat GPT here, is all done on the front side of a mortgage. All principal is paid on the back side. Interest is paid on the front side. So community service is done on the front side. In this case, all 100 reports show that community service is done on the front side. Yeah, that's why Lily Frank said you're going to do your one day a week and was making him, demanding that he did it. It should all be there, guys. He was on supervised probation. It's not like he had a choice back then to go or not. He had a report. He was doing what a test, they were drug testing you or something. He wasn't even
Color code.
That wasn't, what is that all about?
Color code is
Drug test. Okay, and he wasn't even convicted of a drug crime. They put him through the ring around here, guys. That's why I went over.
Smoke cannabis.
I went after him, and he used cannabis, but he didn't do meth or he didn't do coke or he didn't do drugs. Yes, he did.
Don't do drugs.
He does, and he's known that, and he told that, and his probation officer was very aware of him doing that as well. It doesn't matter because I went in and talked to her, and she was aware of that. So that's, I'm telling you, we're in a state. This is Oregon, okay? It's medicinal, okay? Anyways, we're not talking. She knows it. They know that he was using medicinal cannabis. They didn't have any problems with, what was that? Was it?
They didn't care that I used it.
Was it Tony who was doing something? One of those people was allowed to do something. Remember? Was it him?
He was allowed to smoke pot on probation.
But somebody else too. There was somebody who was allowed to do something else that was like, how are you allowed to do that? Was that him?
Tony had all sorts of leeway, dude. That's why he kept getting that into my, go ahead, just keep doing it. Yeah,
he had some. Anyways, brothers, sisters. Okay, we're gonna go back. Elijah completed his hours. Kenny. Tell me about Kenny. This guy knows all these people that he went through. He went back through his phone, guys, and he goes, see, I went to jail with that guy, and we did community service together. Oh, that's the guy of the lady who used to give away dog food, Dad. That's the guy that I did a whole bunch of hours, like most all the hours I did with him too. He was on the bus every time. So we tracked some of these people's hours. They're going to match Elijah's hours that were on that bus that day too, guys. This is criminal what they've done to my son. And so I've stood in, and then what happened yesterday is criminal. I just try to get his, lady a shower, and she's, I can't believe what they've done to this lady too. To call her a slut. She went and volunteered her time, guys. I just thought she was helping out Elijah. Like, hey, let me go with you. Like he said. No, she was actually filling out her hours too. So he said, like I said, that Elijah said that there was some discrepancy with the hours in this email. Did I complete this? Oh, I didn't.
Yes, I believe you did. Oh, no.
No, okay, so I'm going to read it again. It looks like the hours I see the hours you put down. I received a message from the garden that you are putting down hours that you're not working. That's just when they're on the other side. Please write down the times you arrive and leave. Write down. Please write down. Now they're asking him to do it again. I will have a total of hours for you this evening. It looks like you've already been moved to expired in the sheriff's website. I will add as much as I can. He never added any hours, brothers and sisters. Dan?
Or it's the possibility that Dan Budd tried to send his hours in, and because the probation office had already moved me to expired, they will not accept the hours that I had done from weeks previous.
So that means they didn't give me any of those hours? Nah, guys. Even if that day, because the guy didn't file them. Remember, this was the 30th that his hours needed to be filed by.
I still am on the fact that it took me 5 months.
He never filed back to let Elijah know how many hours that he had either, guys. He never let him know how many he was. And I don't think to this day. So are they saying Elijah got no hours? Are they saying, Elijah? Because at this time, Elijah needed 55 hours. I see the hours put down. See, these hours were never filed that I just showed you, brothers, sisters. And these are the 55 hours that my attorney today said that he was missing. So Lake County, stand down. Lane County, stand down. Checkmate, man. She went with him. And I'm sure we can get more hours. What about all the hours Elijah did here in Lane County? Even if he left for the 10 hours, I think you got that all messed up too. Because
because the math adds up at 8 hours a day,
sure.
one day a week for 5 months is 160, and it took me 5 months to get out of here.
Right, but you did work some days 2 days because you didn't go to work the first day. Right, the first week, right? Right, the first week or something. It took him a minute to get into it, and then some days I started joining.
He would allow multiple sets of work in the week.
So
he was really awesome. He was better than the other.
Who was the other person?
I can't remember his name in total.
We think his name was Rodney. I think I remember that too. Rod or Rodney. They joked around with the guy by his name too, guys. So that's what I'm saying. There's too many people. Elijah knows a gentleman out here that he did almost all his hours with. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The record of his hours is we're going to keep, that's what I'm saying, guys. This county's not going to run from this. You're going to leave, cops. You're going to get out of here because I'm bringing the media out here, and I'm going to start bringing people out here, and I think we're going to do a news thing out here. And you guys, you just heard the real estate agent say that they go around and bother people out here very heavily, and they're very heavily handed, and people are known this town that's got to go. I don't want them here anymore. And I'm not leaving. And I asked my son, I said, let's run this law out of here, son. And because they're wicked tyrants, and I can give you stories, guys, horror stories. I'd like to bring a lady on if she'll come on. I don't think she's come on. You heard that real estate agent said because they're scared. These people are scared of these people, guys. That's his words, not mine, that they're scared of them, guys. The whole system is corrupt out here.
People are scared of the cops out here because they think that they'll just show up and take them to jail.
They're heavy-handed, guys. They arrest people without, like I said, Tina
she's a
found $4,500 in a clear bag and put it in her bank account, separate from all her money. And then they found her on video, and she said, "Yeah, I have it in my bank account." She returned it to the police officers. They took a chain of evidence the very next day. In the same denomination, she's very picky that the money was returned exactly as she took it from off the ground on the floor, picked it up. And she said she didn't want to give it to anybody because it was cash. She knew that if she gave it to the store that anything could happen. And then she said she wasn't sure about the police. She thought about it. So she put it in a separate account in her bank, and she looked up what the laws were according to if you find money and how long you have to keep it and whatever. And she looked into it. So it was there, secured and separate. They came and said, "Oh, we found you. We say you found it." She said, "Yeah, I got it. It's over here." They gave it back. She gave it back, and they came and arrested her 6 months later, threw her in jail, and arrested her, guys. Put her in Lakeview in the jail down there. Innocent woman, guys.
Criminal.
And then she was like, she wanted to move on. "I'm going to move, Tracy. I got it. These people are. I've got it." I'm like, "You're not going anywhere, lady. You're going to take this to the box." Remember, this is the poorest county in the town. Let me remind, or in the state, remind you, because these people are such criminals. They could probably only do, well, maybe 3 now. They probably could have done 10 if they'd stop siphoning all the money that's coming from North Lake. Yeah, it's crazy. This town is growing up here, and I guarantee you they're only going to be able to do 2 cases a year. They can't do this case. This case is too big now, not with all this hundreds of hours of evidence. This case is way too big. If they step in and arrest me and I obtain, well, I already have John, like I said, but I hope they don't do that, because we have hundreds of hours. All this, all my social media, all Elijah, it's all going to be evidence. All this stuff that I'm talking, there's so many people that will have to be summoned. There's probably 100 people involved in this case total. So I don't take this to the box, Lake County. Stand down now. I just showed you that he has 55 hours. Even there's some discrepancy because the whole system's rigged, and the fact that you guys make these people write down. And no, I called Lake County, and I have a record that it will be there. I don't have it, but it's digital, so it can be summoned into a court of law. If you take me to jail or my son, gotta come on this property and you turn, and I want to see that the warrant is released. It's invalid. I want something in writing. They won't contact me today, guys, but I'm going to still work through my attorney because he's busy. And again, I already got, there's 55 hours. So we're going to go here. I'm not going to waste his time. What about, I already showed you guys, what about the email from the head of probation said Elijah only had 30? There's no matching numbers, guys, because there's nothing done digitally. So I want to whitewash on Elijah's case. Scratch it. There's too many. You already double jeopardied him. So if you try to, I told you I won't allow you to arrest him. I already called your county and said I'll step in and arrest him already myself. And I already have been a man of my word, and I've kept my word. And I kept my word the other day. And I said, don't you dare stop this car, Elijah. You go home. Do not drive fast. Keep going the speed limit. Don't speed up. Do the speed limit. The public was not put in jeopardy. The officer behind us was not put in jeopardy. We drove home, and I made sure they got back to the sanctuary, a place of safety from this tyranny. So go watch the video. You'll see the law enforcement. You'll see that they stood down. I told them to stand down and leave, and they did. So I believe that there is a protection. It's not me, it's God. It's because I am a pastor. I don't want to call myself, but I have to now. It doesn't matter. People call me that. There's going to be people calling me that, so you can't. When you preach the gospel, well, preach. There's a difference between teaching and preaching, brothers and sisters. Teaching is teaching somebody, but when the God moves them, it's them. They're moved by the word. That's preaching, but that's not me doing it. That's him. I get overcome by that Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. So I'm not ducking behind this. God will judge me, but if what I'm doing is wrong, he will turn me upside down and he will shake me. And if I'm wrong, the judgments will come. But I know what I'm doing is right. Elijah is more than enough. If they just, with the technology, he just pinged his hours. Wherever they said he was supposed to be, just ping him. I don't care if there's maybe checked in half an hour late here or over here, because you know what, there's hours that Dan, he's tried to go in and get work, and he's like, well, there's no working, but I'll give you a couple hours. Some of this stuff is so fudged. It's just a shit show, guys. I apologize, Father, for using profanity, but it really is quite the, it should be none of this. No, it's 2024. I'm tired of this. This is unaccounted for. It's too many discrepancies. There's nothing accountable. These probation officers are not accountable. Why does not, again, I kick out 100 action plans. Why is Elijah's the only one where he has probation at the end of his thing? Why is his the only one? Because it's invalid. You don't give probation community service hours served at the end, at the last 3 months. Those are done on the front side, guys. Lily should be able to. I called Lily when this all came down before, when I called Crescent Brunsman and said, Lily called there. You were his probation officer, Lily. Remember, I used to call you Lily because I think you're wicked. Because I think what you've done, my son, is wicked. But I don't care, Lily. I'm not afraid. Remember? Do your job, Lily. Yeah, I called her out. I called her out to her face when I was there. I've called. This is the problem with what's going on, guys. My son is getting screwed because of me. Because I pointed out that there is corruption in this county. They release rapists, more murders, more, heavy, more crimes of brothers and sisters. This county is contracted with these people and get a contract. And that's how they have been able to racket through their probation department, a string of different people that go out and service this community by bringing in like this 5 men, grown men, but teenagers and 1 grown man. Teenagers, 1 grown man and a bunch of teenagers. Pedophile, if you ask me. Get them in all thinking they're vigilantes and they're going into some rapist's house or Tito's house, and that he was kicked out for a year. Give me 1 second, guys. This is somebody who's in law. So give me 1 minute. Stop streaming until it's over. This is all more evidence that they're going to have to go through. So, sorry, we're getting a little wore out here, guys. It's been a lot of, we're here been a week trying to get this people to concentrate and look at the evidence here. This should be easy to figure out and easy to fix. So
yeah, and the only phone call that we've gotten is somebody laughing at us.
Yeah, pretty much laughed at my son, hung up on me. And so
how serious are they really taking it? That's crazy.
So I'm not leaving here. Okay, sure. You want it? This is where I'm going to stay here. and I'm not going to let Elijah leave this property ever again. There's fine. There's food here. There's water here. Just so you know, with your stupid crap, with your, you guys are so idiots. You called the sheriff's office called my owner of my land instead of trying to figure it out, guys. Look at where their effort's at. You just showed your card again. You just called my landowner instead of trying to get this shit taken care of. You're a horrible police department. I'm coming for all your jobs. Every one of you. I hope none of you have a job. I don't think anybody in this county up here in North Lake deserves their job. And Michael Taylor deserves to lose his job because I have more than a year and I have physical evidence to ask him to call me. I have 50 phone calls requesting a call to him. And he has not called me back even for 1 second. The sheriff in this town, the elected sheriff, is an absolute failure. You heard me say to Sam Birch, I'd like to speak with you. Oh, no, you're not doing it. They're all running this ring up here. And I'm not afraid to stand in front of their guns. I'm not. You're not going to take them. You understand? Get this straightened out. Take that warrant and tear it up. It's invalid. I told you don't issue one because he already done his hours. Now I just showed you that you didn't file his last remaining 50 some hours. So what are we, an hour short to it? This is bullshit. What about all the hours he did over here in this county? Stand down, Lake County. I just showed you my attorney. You want to call him? John Caligo, I told you I said that I was already going to get a hold of him. I gave you until 12 o'clock today to communicate something. I've called 100 probably people, guys, on this whole matter over, throughout the whole process from, the heck was that? Did you just see that?
It's my phone.
Oh, it was a flash. I was like, what was that? Anyways,
Yeah. That's my phone.
it's there. If Elijah's short 55 hours, well, that's because Dan Budd didn't file his hours, guys. How could that be? Well, I'll try to get him filed. You heard what I said. Well, I'll follow what I can. What I can. I'll give you what I can.
At this point,
You're at the will of me. He'd already went in there. I tried to, you go get these hours, Elijah. We're going to get this state. They tell you, we'll go get him. So he drove there, his car, all the way down, what is it, West 11th, all the way on the other end, from not even anywhere near downtown and stuff where he's at. He went on the other side of town to go do this, guys. This guy spent so much extra time and effort than anyone else should ever have had to spend. More than enough. Now, if I can get my attorney, and he has already called the sheriff's office, so I have legal involved, said that there's 55 hours remaining. Well, I can show you, Elijah. I just showed you. He has 55 documented right there. His girlfriend was there and did the work as a nonprofit. Working, not that she's just working with them, like helping them out or something. She was actually volunteering her time. And now she's lost her job because of this. You're criminals, Lake County. You're criminals. You know that? You will cost this woman her job because you won't stand down. Lane County, you're a failure. Cresha Brunsman needs fired. I'm not going to stop until all action plans are digital. They get a copy of it. All community service hours are logged in digitally. That would take this 7 rounded up. I don't care if they were checked out at 5:07, then that's the time they're going to get. Stop putting this in other people. You do this, they do this, they get this. These are volunteers. This is the biggest shit show I've ever seen in my life. None of this makes any sense. And I'm telling you, Lake County, you have failed again to take, you're calling the people I own land, guys, because I know what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to come after me for a code. Send it to my mail and I'll wipe my ass with it and send it back to you. Because I don't go by that. I don't ask permission to do anything. I'm not going to go by that. No, I'm not. I'm a man of the land and soil. I was born in this corrupt dust. So I'm going to go back to it. Everything I've ever owned, everything I've ever touched, it came from that dust and it'll go back to it. Just like you. I don't care who you are on the other side of the screen. You're not inept to that. We all come from this corrupt dust and we'll all go back to it. Everything you ever touched, ever tasted, felt, seen, been with. I don't care. It all comes from this dust and it all comes back. So you're not going to take this dust and tell me what I can do on my dust or with my dust. I don't ask permission. I'm a veteran. I have an honorable discharge. It's on my commercial license. So you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to try to enforce a corporate law on me. I'm not a corporation. So if you send anything code order mandates, I'm not a corporation. I'm a pastor and I run this church out here, and it's run through the internet, and it's a worldwide ministry. It's touched millions of people. There's literally 40, almost 50,000 followers that have come off and on, plus between TikTok and YouTube. And I have other streams. But between those two, the gospel's been preached, and people keep coming back. So you're not going to stop this. I'm providing myself my son a place of safe until they can get it figured out. And it's obviously they don't have anything because they haven't come here yet. They're fishing, trying to call my landowner when after yesterday. Did you see yesterday? The following us down the driveway with the lights on. Not running from anything. We drove. Don't speed, Elijah. Don't you dare pull over. I'm not going to let you go to prison and get violated, your rear end, by a man who can't keep his phallic to himself. No, when I know you've already done these hours because I was involved. Nuh-uh. Oh, you're getting screwed because I'm pointing out that these people are corrupt and you're paying the price for it. That's why my son is suffering, because his father has pointed out that it's corrupt. I started this with this case where he got in trouble. So anyways, let me take a break, guys. I'll come back again. We'll talk some more. This is all documentary. You can't afford this case, Lake County, now. I'm going to keep coming in streaming. Unless you bust down these gates or something, I'm not going to stop streaming. So this is all evidence that's going to keep compiling. So I want to bring Elijah back in here, and we'll go over this again. And much love, guys. I'll be back on here in a few. I'm going to take a break. I'm a little wore out. We've just been all these numbers. We're going to go over again. I want Elijah to come back in here and talk about Kenny and the original hours and a little bit more about where he worked. And we're just going to keep piling on evidence, and I can't run from it. So like I said, Lake County, you better stand down, because you guys said you came on this stream and you contacted me because you knew you found out because of this stream. And that's how you called to check to make sure Elijah was safe. And then you told him he was running from the law for a year when all these hours were documented in that year. You guys are idiots, Lake County. You're going to lose your jobs. So I just, if you want a peaceful resolution, meaning you don't want to lose your job, I'm telling you, I'm coming after your job. You people are absolutely criminals. And if I bring people out here to organically interview you, people and the people of this town, they're going to tell you, you just heard a real estate agent that's been in this town that owns Christmas Valley Realty, Jesse, who's been out here for 15 plus years, say they're heavy handed and they do what they want out here, and they bully people. He said that they would push people around and they were bullies. So even when people who deal with the real estate know how heavy handed are, this has got to stop. I want them out of here, guys. I'd love to see what this town was like without them. When people actually cared about doing their job and cared about this community instead of scamming the people and being thugs. So stand down, Lake County. I have his 55 hours accounted for. And if you come on here, you're going to wrongfully arrest him. So scratch up your arrest warrant, rip it up. It's not a valid arrest warrant. That's why I've arrested his body and his girlfriend's body, his wife, so that you cannot keep those two apart. You've already ripped their lives apart. So I suggest you just settle out of court with him, and you better start figuring about some kind of lawsuit. This is ridiculous what you've done to these two people. That's why I've stood in and I won't allow you to do it. The Lord will provide a sanctuary for them here. That's what the Lord and law has to follow that. I believe that's why that officer can't enter this property. Plus, Elijah already done all his time. So we'll come back in just a little bit, guys. I appreciate all your time. Please call Lake and Lane County Sheriff's Office and tell them to stand down. I want Elijah's. I'm not stopping until Elijah's gold slip is here, until I show he has no more probation and he can leave this property. He's not leaving until then. I will not let him or his wife leave. There are people here that will make sure that I have what's needed here. And appreciate all the people who stood in and support Elijah. Again, he's a little bit overwhelmed yesterday with the kind words that were said about him. You know, he's done his time more than anybody involved in this case. Go look at his case. Look at the 5 people involved and look at how many people. Look what he's been through. Way triple, 10 times, 100 times fold. Stand down, Lake County. I'm telling you, stand down. I want a call. Just say, okay, Tracy, we'll get it taken care of. And internally investigate yourself and give me an update, and maybe I'll settle with that. I'm going after Crusher Brunsman. I'll let you know. You're safe here in Lake County because I'm not moving. You're not running me out of this town, or I'm going to run you, the law, out of this town. You hear me? Yeah, I'm not afraid of you. I'll run you out of town. I'll take all your jobs. You guys are criminal. If I bring news investigative people, they start interviewing this town, you'll see. You want more of this stuff to come out? You want more of your criminality to come out? Let me bring the news out here. We haven't even got there yet. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg. There's still all this underneath. So I haven't revealed any of that. Wait till I pull this water back and show that you ain't wearing no clothes. Yeah, you think you're gods or some kind of emperors. I'm going to expose you. I'm going to take your jobs or internally investigate yourself and stand down. And I do not want to see another one of these offers come anywhere within my property. Stay away from us. We're peaceful people. We've not called for violence. We're going to stay here, and you're not going to. I've made a talk with my son. We're staying here. We're not going to let you run us off. We're going to stay. We're going to be a contributing factor to this community. Actually, you heard what I said to Jesse on open cabins. Life is going to go on, guys, but you're not going to sweep this under the rug. You can't. I'm going to keep streaming. This case just keeps getting more and more expensive for you, Lake County. Yep. Every time I keep doing this, this is all going to be looked at. So I suggest you just end this now. Peacefully, without guns, without violence. Give the man from release from probation, stand down, and we'll let it go. Come on. I'm ready. I don't want to stay here. If I will, I have what I need here. I'm not leaving. So you're going to take your resources and call the landowner instead of trying to call Kresha Brunsman. Lake County, if you call Kresha, but you call my real estate company, you fucked up, man. You're not using the public's resources properly. You're trying to attack me again when you should be doing Elijah's service, as I told you. Yeah, you keep messing up, and I apologize for my cursing. I just been doing this day after day after day after day, but that's what you guys are. You're a bunch of bumbling idiots, just like Sam when he called me. Oh, I just checked in. Oh, well, we found that you were on the live. Well, were you watching the live, or did you just check in, Sam? That's why when I showed up, I told him at my house, stand down, Sam. We've already talked. You're live, buddy. You messing with the wrong guy here. We're not trying to call for violence. This ain't no Ruby Ridge. This ain't no Waco, Texas. I'm not wacko. If you can think whatever you want, this is God. You don't like it, take it up with him. Don't shoot the messenger. All right, guys. Much agape. Call Lake and Lane County. I'll be back on a little bit. This is probably one of the better live streams to watch. It's live, happening right now. There's a stand up, not a standoff. We're peaceful out here. Nobody's standing off. Nobody's called for violence. We're standing up for our rights. Get up, stand up for your right. All right, that's what you need to do. Grow a set of balls. Don't be the silent majority. You're going to go down in history as the silent majority. Somebody actually beat up partakers of their unfruitful works of darkness. Expose them. Shine a light on them. He gives you a light, and if he tells you not to hide that behind a bush. Don't rise. That's pride. That's what Satan got cast from the heavens and fell to the earth because he tried to rise above the Most High. It was that pride, that just one sin that got him cast. The wages of sin is death. One sin. We're all filthy rags. So it doesn't matter, brothers and sisters. It's good that he covers us in that blood of the Lamb and covers us for our sins. And that's why we need to turn from our sins. And I'm telling you, my son made a mistake. And he's paid for his sin. You do the crime, you do the time. Judgment will come upon all of us. None of us going to run from judgment, brothers and sisters. It ain't going to happen. You cannot run from that judgment. And my son is not. He's done his time. Give unto Caesar what unto Caesar. And so he did. He did his time and his crime, and more than any. So please, put on that armor. No weapon formed against you will prosper. That's what my son has done here. And that's why I'm standing here, and I'm standing against this law. I'm coming for their jobs, brothers and sisters. I hope they understand that a man of God is not going to back down. He says, do not worry that a man who can take your flesh, only worry who can take your soul. That's the only person I fear, is the Most High. You see any fear in these eyes? I don't fear you. Stand down, give Elijah his certificate. Let's end this peacefully. Thank you for letting me reveal this truth to you, brothers and sisters, because this is what's really going on. We'll be back a little bit later. Always agape. I am Apocalypse. I am Revelation. Whoa.